Hello, it says that we are live here in Regulated Woman Entrepreneur, Business Foundations, and Visibility. I'm going to check my laptop to make sure that we are actually live. Okay, here we are. Perfect. Let's go in here. Let's make sure I'm turned down. Okay, perfect. Okay, so today we are talking about 3 truths that every regulated CEO must know. The reason why I want to tell you this is because I feel like there's so much fluff and bullshit in the online space, especially if you're more drawn towards like spiritual communities and things like that. There is a lot out there that has really created more visibility wounds than necessary, but also it has created this idea that being an entrepreneur is like a fantasy land, and that's really not actually the case. And so I want to share these things with you because I have fallen for them too. And so I want you to kind of learn from my mistakes, if you will, so that you're not falling for this, so that you're not doubting yourself, you're not second guessing yourself, why you don't necessarily feel a certain way, why you're necessarily not having the same experiences, okay? So if you're watching this live, you have probably experienced a lot of stuff online that probably makes you feel ick or cringe, stuff that you don't really believe, or you really want their lifestyle and it looks amazing and all of the things, but there's just something about it that kind of makes you feel like, this is off, this isn't right. And when you go and do the things that these entrepreneurs are telling you to do, nothing's actually working for you. And you're like, okay, what is it about me that's causing this? What am I doing wrong? Where's my energy? Why can't I be happy all the time? And just having those experiences. So again, I want you to know that I have also had those experiences, and I have also fell for those things as well. If you're new to the group, which a lot of you are, this group is brand spanking new. I'm Angela. I help you become a regulated CEO so that your income is predictable and not accidental. And I do this by teaching business foundations and helping you heal visibility wounds. I have owned 2 businesses. This is my 3rd business. I've had failed businesses. I've had failed launches. I've had all of the failures. I am in my successful era right now, and I really want you to have the tools and the foundations to be able to create that. And I really believe that a lot of that starts with business foundations, which a lot of coaches actually miss in the online space. I cannot tell you how much money I have invested in coaches and not learned how to do things like write a business plan, which is absolutely crazy to me now that I understand how important that it is. And of course, healing visibility wounds. Why I think healing visibility wounds is so important, because 1, my background is in trauma. I do have a master's degree in psychology, and I am also a childhood sexual abuse survivor and a sexual abuse survivor. And I can tell you the visibility wounds that come with that, just being a survivor, just dealing with the sexual abuse alone, is absolutely insane. And it makes you do things like not stay committed to your strategy. It makes you, look at the outside world for validation rather than looking within. And it also prevents you from being able to look at your own power and your own skills and your own capabilities, and just looking out at people and just wondering why things are not working for you. And I can tell you that if you're in that space, you have come to the right place for you to build foundations and heal those visibility wounds. All right, let's go ahead and get started on why you're here. The 3 truths that you must know. The first one is that you really are going to end up taking anybody that comes to you for a while. I used to think that you were going to be able to determine who your ideal client was without ever working with anybody. And if you're in this space, which I know some of you are, where you're looking for clients, you're looking for leads, I want you to know that for a while you are going to take whoever's willing to pay for you. And that's okay. It's okay to take what investments you're able to take so that you can get your feet wet, so you can get moving, so you can build that confidence. Eventually what happens is, as you nail down your messaging and your niche, if you feel like that's necessary, then you start to realize who your ideal clients are and who they are not. And then you start to wean these people out by the way that you're talking to them, what kind of content you're sharing, how you're speaking to them, of course. And so that really starts to shift. In the beginning stages, again, which a lot of you are, you're going to take whoever. And if you've been struggling for a while, you're going to be in the same space. I feel like because it's not really sexy to talk about just taking whoever will pay you at the beginning, we tend to kind of like skip this stage and we tend to kind of take it away from other people. The reality is that being an entrepreneur is a journey. It is a learning process. And as much as I would love for you to learn from all of my mistakes, there's a possibility that you may not, right? I am always someone that has to learn the hard way. Yes, I take advice and listen and I'm coachable and all of those things, but there are some things about entrepreneurship journey that you have to learn on your own. And I believe that this is one of them. And this is also connected to things like, you know, raising your prices and programs, et cetera, et cetera. There is a learning process to all of it and it's completely okay. I can tell you that in my life, especially in the beginning, I just took people that were willing to pay me. Now I'm more looking at who's going to do the work. And of course, their ability to invest, that does matter, right? Because even though there's a lot out there on objections and selling and all of those things, I do believe that money can be a barrier for people. And I respect that and completely understand that. But the thing is that for me, it's about who's willing to do the fucking work. And I feel like that's the most important thing that an entrepreneur can look at within their clients. That's so important. As we're talking about clients and all of those things, if you have not seen the 5-day business reset, we are actually going to talk about this in those 5 days so that you can nail down your clients and get an idea of who you might work with no matter which stage you're at within your business. So actually, let me drop the link for you right now. Copy URL. Okay, I'm going to drop this link. This is the Business Reset, and this is free. It's going to be here in the group. Oops. Okay. Okay, here you go. That's there. Okay, let's talk about the second truth. The second truth, and this is something that I've talked about a few times within the community. You must reach out to people, especially if you are brand new or you've been struggling for a while. If you are in this space, you need to be reaching out to people. You need to have an outreach strategy. An outreach strategy is where you're literally going to people, you're reaching out to them, and then you're bringing them into your platform, to your area where you have nurtured them. And that's where you're going to be selling to them. A lot of you, I've reached out to you and I've brought you into my space where I'm nurturing, where I'm talking to you, where I'm helping you have breakthroughs and ahas and values and guiding you and being your coach. Now, this can happen in the DMs, of course, but not as much as it can happen with inside your space where you're selling and nurturing and letting them know that you're giving them value and authority, etc. So you really want to be aware of this. The market in the online space is saturated, okay? And we really have to come to that reality. So since it's saturated, what are you going to do about it? You have to do something about it, because if you are just figuring this out and refining and perfecting, your message may not necessarily connect with the right people at first. The more that you talk to people, the more that you have these conversations, the more that your messaging is going to change and shift and evolve. You can't do that if you're not talking to people. You especially can't do that if you are depending on attraction marketing when you don't know exactly who it is that you're talking to, or you haven't reached out to people and you don't know what their pain points are or what it is that they want, right? At this point, you're kind of just guessing and hoping that this works for you. So you want an outreach strategy. What does an outreach strategy look like? This looks like reaching out to people in the DMs, cold or otherwise. I don't care how much hate it gets. I feel like that's just an opinion, and I feel like if you want it, and you're determined and you have the courage, that you should go for it. You can also do things like go to in-person networking events in your local community. I feel like this is the most underutilized space for you to create connections, build relationships, and get clients. And I feel like it's something that we should all tap into. It's something that I do. It's something that has helped my business so much. So again, you can go to these places, things where you're bringing people into your energy. That is an outreach strategy, and you are going to want to do that. I'm going to share with you how to do that strategy, how that actually works inside the Calm Business Reset. So again, if you feel like this is a space for you where you want to be, head to that link that I dropped right there in the comments and save your spot. Okay, 3. The third one is my favorite because there is so much out there in the online space about you're going to feel so excited, and if you're not excited, you're not aligned with what it is that you're doing, and you need to feel happy every single day and aligned every single day, whatever the hell that means, and you need to feel like so high and so excited and so happy. Okay, if you're here, you may not feel like that every single day. I don't feel like that every single day, okay? I am 39 years old. I am going through perimenopause. I have a daughter, and sometimes that can be very triggering. I'm a single mom, and so I have to deal with a lot. My hormones fluctuate like crazy, okay? Sometimes I have bad days. And so I do not always feel the same. Now, I have practices to help me feel regulated and to help me feel good so that I'm coming into this space where I feel safe, being seen and heard, and staying committed to my business, because that's so important. But I do not feel the same from one day to the next. And I feel like because of this misconception on how you're supposed to feel every single day showing up to your business means that, 1, you're never going to have bad days, but 2, you're never going to be uncomfortable. So that means that when you're stepping outside your comfort zone, or when you have doubt, or when you have fear, you're not actually supposed to feel that way, when actually that's bullshit. You will feel that way no matter how aligned, no matter how excited you feel about your business. And if you're not feeling uncomfortable every once in a while, you're probably not doing things right anyway. You want to do things that are making you uncomfortable, because that's where you grow. That's where you're going to see your manifestations. That's where you're going to see everything show up. So I want you to know that as a business owner, if you're like seeing everybody always happy and everybody's like rah rah blah blah blah, okay, I want you to know that you're going to feel uncomfortable. It is part of the game. It really is so part of the game. If you want to never feel uncomfortable, you should stop trying to run a business immediately, because you are going to feel uncomfortable. Sometimes when I post my content, I still feel uncomfortable. Sometimes when I come in here to do these lives, okay, I have been doing lives since 2020, and I still feel uncomfortable coming into them. But I love them, okay? So again, it's about that skill that you're developing to make those kinds of things happen. In order to develop those skills, they're going to be uncomfortable. And I just want you to be aware of that, because I think it's so important. That is part of the mindset of being an entrepreneur. And we're also going to address that inside my Calm Business Reset. Again, this is a 5-day challenge. I left the link for you to go ahead and check out. You can check it out in the comments. But this is what I have for you. Remember these truths as you're scrolling through social media, as you're showing up. It is not a fantasy land. I'm not saying you can't live there. I'm not saying you can't be delusional. But you do want to be aware of these truths and of these realities, so that you are not dysregulating your nervous system and questioning yourself all the time because things are not looking specifically this way for you. All right, this is what I have for you. I hope that you have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye.